what I wanted to show you is, if you remember these icons were clickable before, I've got a mouse over here which says click to change settings, so that's what I'm going to do. And as you can see, we now have a piece of information that definitely wasn't there before as far as for users of this system, which is the readers over time graph. So what are we looking at exactly? There's a couple of things it's showing us. One, you may remember from the popovers we had earlier, we have 16 people, the maximum number of people that we're actually tracking, and the total time over here is 518 seconds. That's just as long as the graph can go, because once some people will leave their web page open for a few hours or a few days, and obviously we don't really care about them for tracking purposes. Hence this graph will actually chop off at that period. Now, if you have a web page where people are going to spend 6 hours on there, well, I guess we can look at making a tweak to the software, but particularly for those of us doing sales pages, that's unlikely. Okay, so it tells us, as I said, the readers this way and going along the bottom of the time. So essentially, this graph, it's quite a chunky looking version of it, but this graph is typical of what you'll get on pretty much any page. You have this kind of curve, mainly because you have a lot of people dropping off at first because this wasn't the web page they were looking for, i.e. it's just, you can't convert everyone because they're not always looking for what you're actually providing. So therefore it drops off quite rapidly. Now what you should have as far as the web page goes is this, where this white line is here, which is essentially at the 20-second period. That's when you start to get people who are serious readers. Either you should start to convert these people, in other words. Now, what is this white line for exactly? You can see down the bottom it says the minimum read time is 20 seconds. Now, if I go and change that to say 200 and tab out, then this graph will actually change. And it has changed. So essentially, that bar, by default, the graphs that are produced are going to be at 20 seconds, as you saw when we first came to this screen, so that we're looking at the meat of our viewers. However, you can change it to something else. So we can also change that to 0 seconds, in which case we are looking at everybody, including the people who are so not finding what they were looking for. It doesn't really matter that much. But okay, we'll just go back just for the moment to the 20 seconds, which is where we started. The other thing we can do is we can change from all to test data. And it now suddenly says nothing tracked yet. Now what's that talking about? Well, one, if you remember earlier I talked about being able to run the Intratrakker, or the pages running Intratrakker, by passing in a p equals -100, or by just clicking the link on the details page. Well, what has actually happened here is the fact that no one's actually used that in demo mode, of course, because this is an old page, and so therefore there's just nothing there. You would see the same message about nothing tracked yet if you'd put the system up and nobody had visited the page since you installed the software, and started tracking it. So this is what you would expect. So I'll just show you that now so you can actually see what happens. Now the correct way to close this page and actually update the system is, as you can probably guess, this button here, update main page report. And when I do that, it says nothing tracked yet, which is of course what we already knew. So when you actually put this up first, it used to just actually show nothing, but I'm sure you'd agree, a message that tells you that there's no information yet is certainly easier to understand. So essentially, having gone through that, that pretty much takes you through everything you need to know on using Intratrakker. I've got some other interesting ideas which I'll certainly be bringing forward in future, more centred around making it even easier to actually make the changes to your sales copy. But for the moment, this very rapidly, as I mentioned in the earlier video, with only about 10 people, which is really all you need, you can find out this information and produce those nice coloured graphs which tell you what's going on, what's turning people off, as well as obviously where they're leaving and so forth. So thank you for taking the time to listen and view this with me. There will be shortly, if there's not already there when you're actually viewing this, a PDF document that details how to use this as well, which you can hopefully print out and use as a cheat sheet if you need it. Thank you for your time.